Welcome to my expat stories. This one's going to make you terrified of anyone in a uniform. This comes from Brett, 36, construction project manager from Tampa. He rented a car in Bogotá, wanted to drive to Villa de Leyva for the weekend, see the colonial town, take the scenic route. He made it 20 kilometers outside the city before two cops pulled him over. Except they weren't cops. Hit subscribe and like for more stories. Brett's story will make you question every uniform you see in Colombia. Here's what happened. My name's Brett. I manage construction projects, commercial buildings mostly, office complexes, retail centres. I've been doing it 11 years. The job pays well, but it's stressful. Constant deadlines, constant problems, dealing with contractors who don't show up, dealing with clients who change their minds. I needed a break. I flew into Bogotá in early May, booked a week. No real plans except to decompress. Get away from emails, away from phone calls, away from people asking me when things will be finished. First few days I stayed in the city, walked around La Candelaria, the old colonial neighbourhood, narrow streets, colourful buildings, street art everywhere. I visited Monserrate, took the cable car up, saw the whole city spread out below. 8 million people, mountains on every side. I ate at local restaurants, tried ajiaco, tried bandeja paisa, drank too much coffee. It was fine, relaxing. But by day 4, I was restless. Wanted to see something outside the city. Wanted to drive. Wanted space. My hotel concierge suggested Villa de Leyva, colonial town 3 hours north of Bogotá, founded in 15-something. Preserved cobblestone plaza. White buildings with terracotta roofs. Mountain views. He said it's beautiful. Said I should spend a night there. Explore the area. He said I could take a bus 4 hours cheap. Or I could rent a car. More expensive, but more flexible. I chose the car. I like driving. Like being able to stop when I want. Take photos, see things buses blow past. I found a rental place near the airport. They had a Toyota, small SUV, silver, automatic transmission, GPS built in. Perfect. The guy at the counter gave me the paperwork, said the drive's easy. One main highway. Just follow the signs to Tunja, then Villa de Leyva. He mentioned police checkpoints. Said there are a few between Bogotá and Villa de Leyva. Standard stuff. They check licenses. Make sure you're not speeding. He said have your documents ready. Be polite. They'll wave you through. I asked if there was anything else I should know. He said watch your speed. Cops are strict about speed limits, especially with rental cars. They know tourists at speed. Easy tickets. I said okay. He handed me the keys. I left Saturday morning around 9. The city was busy. Weekend traffic. Families heading to markets. People going to parks. It took 40 minutes just to get out of Bogotá. But once I hit the highway, it opened up. The road was good. 2 lanes each direction. Divided highway. Mountains on both sides. Green hills, farms, small towns in the distance. I had the windows down. Music playing. Colombian station I found on the radio. I didn't understand the words, but the rhythm was good. I drove for about 30 minutes, past a police checkpoint. 2 officers standing by the side of the road. Orange cones set up. Reflective vests. They were waving cars through, checking a few randomly. Didn't stop me, I kept going. Another 15 minutes and the road got quieter. Fewer cars, more open space. I was doing about 90 kilometers per hour. Speed limit was 80, but everyone was going 90. Didn't seem like a big deal. Then I saw flashing lights in my rearview mirror. Police car. Blue and white. Lights on top spinning. I checked my speed again. 90. Maybe I should slow down. I eased off the gas, dropped to 85. The lights stayed behind me. Getting closer. I moved to the right lane. Figured they were passing. They didn't pass. They stayed right behind me. Then I heard a siren. Short burst. I looked in the mirror. The cop was pointing at me, waving me to pull over. My heart rate picked up. I signalled. Pulled onto the shoulder, gravel crunching under the tyres. I put the car in park, left the engine running, rolled down my window. 2 officers got out of the police car, both in uniform, dark blue, long sleeves, pants with cargo pockets, boots, badges on their chests, name tags I couldn't read from this distance, guns on their hips in black holsters, radios clipped to their belts. The car looked official, blue and white, Policia Nacional written on the side, light bar on top, antenna in the back. Everything looked right. The older officer walked up to my window. Maybe 45. Grey hair cut short, moustache. Aviator sunglasses. The younger officer stayed back by their car. Mid-30s, clean-shaven. Watching me. The older officer said something in Spanish. Fast, I didn't catch any of it. I said, I'm sorry, I don't speak Spanish. He paused, switched to English. Heavy accent but clear. He said license and registration. I reached for my wallet, pulled out my license. Florida license. Grabbed the rental papers from the passenger seat. Handed them to him through the window. He looked at my license. Looked at me. Looked at the rental papers. Took his time. Flipped through the pages. He said, you're American. I said, yes. He said, Tampa. I said, yes. He nodded. Said, okay. He asked how long I'd been in Colombia. I said, 4 days. He asked where I was going. I said, Villa de Leyva. He asked why. I said, tourism. Just want to see the town. He nodded again. Wrote something in a small notebook he pulled from his pocket. He said, do you know why I stopped you? I said, I'm not sure, maybe speeding. He said, yes. Speeding. He said, I clocked you at 107 kilometers per hour. The limit here is 80. I said, I don't think I was going that fast. He tapped the radar gun clip to his belt. Said the machine. Doesn't lie. I said, okay. I'm sorry. He said, sorry doesn't fix the violation. He said, I need to step out of the car. I asked why. He said, standard procedure. Traffic stop. I unbuckled, opened the door, got out, stood by the front of the car. The younger officer walked over. He didn't say anything. Just started looking in my car windows, peering into the back seat, looking at the floor, the centre console. The older officer asked if I had any weapons. I said no. He asked if I had any drugs. I said no. He said, are you sure? I said, yes, I'm sure. He said, okay. He said, they need to search the vehicle. Make sure everything's in order. I said, do you need a reason to search? He said, yes. The reason is you were speeding. And this is a rental car. Rental cars are often used for transporting illegal substances. I said, I'm a tourist. I'm not transporting anything. He said, that's what we're going to verify. The younger officer opened the back door, started going through my duffel bag, pulled out my clothes, my toiletries, set them on the ground next to the car, unzipped every pocket, felt around inside, found nothing. The older officer opened the trunk, looked under the mat, checked the spare tyre compartment, moved things around. My camera bag, my jacket, a bottle of water. The younger officer came around to the driver's side, opened the door, reached under the seat, felt around. Then he pulled something out, small Ziploc bag, white powder inside, maybe 2 or 3 grams. He held it up, showed it to the older officer. They both looked at me. The older officer said, what is this? I said, I don't know. I've never seen that before. He said, it was under your seat, in your car. I said, I just rented this car this morning. Someone else must have left it. He said, doesn't matter who left it. It's in your possession now. That makes you responsible. He said, possession of cocaine is a serious crime in Colombia. Very serious. Could be 3 to 5 years in prison. My stomach dropped. I said, that's not mine. You have to believe me. He said, I don't have to believe anything. Evidence is evidence. He said, we're going to have to take you to the station. Process this. Write a report. You'll probably spend the weekend in a holding cell. Monday you can see a magistrate. Maybe post bail, maybe not. I said, wait, please. I'm a tourist. I didn't do anything wrong. This is a mistake. He said, mistakes don't matter. Law is law. He turned to the younger officer, said something in Spanish. The younger officer nodded, started walking toward their car. I said, please, there has to be another way. The older officer stopped, turned back to me, said another way. I said, yes. Can we figure something out? He looked at me for a long time. Then he looked at the younger officer. They spoke in Spanish again, back and forth. I didn't understand any of it. Finally, the older officer said, okay, maybe there is another way. He said, if I pay the fine now, they can make this go away. No arrest, no jail, no record. Just pay and leave. I said, how much? He said, for this amount of cocaine, the fine is 2 million pesos. I did the math in my head. About $500. I said, I don't have that much cash on me. He said, there's an ATM. We can take you there. You withdraw the money. Pay the fine. Then you're free to go. I said, okay. What else could I say? He put the bag of drugs in his pocket. Told the younger officer to ride with me. Said they'd escort me to an ATM. Make sure everything goes smoothly. The younger officer got in the passenger seat of my car. Didn't say anything. Just sat there. Stared straight ahead. The older officer got in their police car, started the engine, pulled back onto the highway. I followed. We drove back toward Bogotá. Maybe 10 minutes. Got off at an exit. Small town. Couldn't have been more than a few thousand people. Single main street, a few shops, a church, a gas station. The older officer pulled into the gas station, parked near the entrance. I parked next to him. The younger officer pointed toward the convenience store attached to the gas station. Said ATM is inside. Go get the money. He stayed in the car, watching. I got out, walked inside. The store was small, shelves with snacks and drinks, coolers along the back wall. The ATM was in the corner. I put in my card, entered my PIN, selected 2 million pesos. The machine whirred, spit out a stack of bills. I took them, put them in my pocket, walked back outside. The older officer was standing by his car, arms crossed. I handed him the money. He counted it, slowly, 1 bill at a time. Took forever. Finally he nodded, put the money in his pocket. Then he said, "There's another problem." I said, "What problem?" He said, "The fine was for possession, but you were also speeding. That's a separate violation, separate fine." I said, "You didn't mention that before." He said, "I'm mentioning it now." He said, "Speeding fine is 500,000 pesos, about $125. I said, "I already paid." He said, "You paid for the drugs, not for the speeding. Two different things." I said, "This is ridiculous." He said, "Do you want to go to the station? I can arrest you right now for the cocaine. The fine goes away, but you go to jail." I said, "No." He said, "Then pay the speeding fine." I went back to the ATM, withdrew 500,000 pesos, came back out, handed it to him. He counted it again, put it in his pocket. He said, "Okay, one more thing." I said, "What now?" He said, "The vehicle registration. There's a problem. Rental car involved in a drug offence. The company gets fined. Car might be impounded, unless I pay an impound prevention fee." I said, "How much?" He said, 1 million pesos, about $250. I said, "This is insane." He said, "No. This is procedure, standard procedure for this situation." I said, "I don't believe you." He shrugged, said, "Believe what you want, but if the car gets impounded, you're stuck here. No car, no ride back to Bogotá. And you still have to explain to the rental company why their car is in an impound lot." I was shaking, could feel my hands trembling. Went back inside, back to the ATM, withdrew another 1 million pesos. This time the machine said I was approaching my daily limit. I took the cash, walked back out, handed it to the older officer. He counted it, smiled, said, "Good. You're a smart man. Smart men don't make problems." He gave me back my license and the rental papers. Said, "Have a safe trip. Watch your speed." Then both officers got in their car and drove off. I stood there in the parking lot. 3,500,000 pesos gone. About $875 in less than 30 minutes. I got back in my car. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely grip the steering wheel. The younger officer was gone. Just me, alone in a gas station parking lot in a town I didn't know the name of. I didn't drive to Villa de Leyva. Turned the car around, drove straight back to Bogotá. Took me an hour. Didn't stop. Didn't look at anything. Just drove. When I got back to my hotel, I went straight to the concierge. Told him what happened. He listened. Then he shook his head. Said those weren't real police. Said it's a scam. Fake uniforms. Fake car. They plant drugs and extort tourists. Happens on highways outside the city. I asked why he didn't warn me when I rented the car. He said he didn't think it would happen on that route. Said it's more common near the border areas. Near Venezuela. Near Ecuador. Not usually between Bogotá and Villa de Leyva. I went to my room, called the rental company, told them what happened. They said bring the car back whenever. They didn't care about the drug story. Said it happens. I asked if I'd be charged for anything. They said no. Car's fine. That's all that matters to them. I called the real police, tried to file a report. They asked for descriptions. I said one officer was older, grey hair, moustache, aviators. The other was younger, clean-shaven. Both in blue uniforms, badges, guns. They said that's not enough. Asked for badge numbers. I said I didn't get badge numbers. They said without badge numbers or a license plate there's nothing they can do. The officer I spoke to said this happens every week. Fake cops targeting rental cars on highways. Easy to spot tourists, easy to scare. He said the drugs were probably baking soda or powdered sugar. Just for show. The police car was probably painted to look official. Uniform and badges bought online. I asked if they ever catch these people. He said rarely. They work different areas. Move around. By the time someone reports it, they're gone. I returned the rental car Monday. 2 days early. Stayed in my hotel the rest of the trip. Didn't leave Bogotá again. Flew home Thursday. My bank said the ATM withdrawals were authorised. I entered my PIN. That's not fraud. Doesn't matter that I was coerced. Dispute denied. Total loss. $875. Plus 2 days of my vacation spent sitting in a hotel room, replaying everything in my head. The money hurt, but the worst part was standing on that highway, thinking I was going to jail in a foreign country for drugs that weren't mine. The panic, the helplessness, the certainty that my life was about to get destroyed over something I didn't do. I looked it up after. Fake police scams are common in Latin America, Colombia, Mexico, Peru. They target tourists in rental cars, plant evidence, demand cash. Most people pay. It's easier than risking jail in a country where you don't speak the language. The uniforms look real. The car looks real. Unless you know what actual police badges look like, you can't tell the difference. And even if you could, what are you going to do? On the side of a highway with 2 armed men. I haven't been back to Colombia. Can't rent a car there without thinking about those flashing lights. Can't see a police uniform without wondering if it's real. $875 for 30 minutes on a highway. No Villa de Leyva. No colonial town. No mountain views. Just a story about fake cops and real fear. That's Brett's story. This is my Expat Stories. Got another one coming soon.